0-2. Off the end of the bat, little flare. Smith diving for it, and Smith, the shortstop, finds himself in shallow left field, but he holds on to the ball for out number 2.
Sinceri deep to center field, and it's gone. Well, it wasn't the afternoon she hoped for in the circle, but a solo shot. Her 16th of the year. The Tigers are on the board here in the 4th.
This would secure a point for LSU if the Fives can win this. The Fives come from behind and take the point.
Hello, welcome to the Scoreboards. Welcome to Tigers Roar. I am Jonathan Poche, joined by a very special co-host, Mr. Tommy Chrysan. TK, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, great to be here with you and be on the set again at Tigers Roar, and of course be out at Scoreboards. So it's all good, man.
It's like coming home for you, being back on Tigers Roar. I'm sure you have a lot of great input for tonight's show.
I got a few comments or two. I've never been one not to talk, but no, it's fun to be back here. When y'all called me a couple days ago, worked it out so that I could be here. So happy to be here, and it's always good to be at Scoreboards. And you know, Tigers Roar has been around a long time. I played a role in all of that, so. And you're doing great taking over.
Well, I appreciate that. A lot to talk about tonight, a lot going on in the world of LSU sports. You saw in the opening clip some baseball, some softball, and some beach volleyball, a sport that's really gaining some momentum at LSU. They finished their highest ever third-ranked team in the nation after the NCAA championships in Gulf Shores, Alabama this past weekend. There you see it, number 3 in the AVCA, and the dig pulls are great for that program.
Well, it's gaining some momentum, and it never hurts to gain momentum because you're winning. You know, they're being very successful. They're winning. Everybody loves a winner, and it's kind of good to see it getting some momentum. Hopefully they can sustain it. They got a beautiful new facility not far from Alex Box Stadium, so it's kind of cool. I guess there's a crowd for that, so we'll see how it goes going forward.
You also saw some LSU baseball. We'll talk a lot about baseball on this program. LSU just came off a tough series against Ole Miss at home. Couldn't take care of business against the Battle of the Biancos. That was a great story. We'll touch more about that a little bit later on in this program. Also got some NFL news, some Saints draft we didn't get to last week, so we'll get you all caught up on the 2019 NFL Saints draft class. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, you know, the Saints have got a track record of doing well in the draft, and they got a really good football team, and they're supposed to have a really good football team again. So, you know, you just got to defer to Mickey Loomis, you defer to Sean Payton and the rest of the staff down there. That, you know, all 32 teams think they had a great draft. They all got the guys that they wanted. Well, we'll see in time, but on paper, Saints did, I think, very well in the draft, and we'll see how it goes after the mini camps and all that stuff. So, but I think if you're a Saints fan, you have to be pleased with the draft.
Now, Saints have signed 10 undrafted free agent rookies since the draft, but we'll go over all the Saints draft picks, have some video for you guys to see so you can get familiar with those picks coming up for the 2019 season, which is only 124 days away from that Monday night game against the Houston Texans.
Yeah, no, it'll be here before you know it. I mean, you know, time flies. There's always sports stuff going on with so many things that happen, and everybody has access on smartphones and internet now, but you know, we always say, man, I can't wait till football gets here, and then all of a sudden you talk about a bowl game, and then you're talking about, you know, signing day. I mean, it just never ends. So that's a good thing.
We'll also talk some LSU softball. Dropped the series this past weekend against Alabama, the number 4th ranked Alabama Crimson Tide, but the SEC tourney is coming up this weekend. LSU waiting to see who they'll play game 1 on Thursday. In a delay right now, South Carolina and Florida. Coach Beth Serena's team has done outstanding all season. Broke the school record for home runs in this season. A lot of offense this year to match that great defense that Beth Serena always puts on the diamond.
Well, she's got an outstanding program. They've been to Oklahoma City countless times. I mean, they're one of the top programs in the country. Beth Serena's done a really good job, and I always say this, but you know, they had hired somebody else who did a U-turn in about 24, 36 hours, and then she jumped in there, and she's done a fabulous job. You know, Beth Torina, I know her a little bit. She'll be the first one to give all the credit to the players and to her staff and the LSU athletic department. But believe me, she's an outstanding softball coach.
Also talk some Southern baseball. The Jaguars had a great season, huge turnaround under the head coach, Carrick Jackson, who you know. And I will talk more about that a little bit later on in the show. Southern picks up their first SWAC West title since 2012. Great things from the Jaguars.
Yeah, you know, I met Carrick shortly after he was hired, sat in his office for a while one day, and we actually had a few mutual friends in the baseball world. You know how it goes in baseball.
Right.
And then, you know, been friends with him ever since, and, you know, I've talked to him about other things, and I know he's been a part of the overtime show with Roman Banks, which is also here at Scoreboards, which I've talked to him a few times here. I'm not surprised that he's doing well, because A, he's a good person, and B, he's a good baseball coach. Right. And as he continues to get more talent, you know, Southern just found out today that they, again, have done very well academically. The APR rating, they're hitting that out of the park. So, you know, you credit Roland Banks and that staff out there for doing really good things for that athletic department, and Carrick Jackson's doing his part.
Also heard the coach Roger Kadar will be the ambassador for the SWAC championship, the SWAC tournament, excuse me, this weekend. So, I mean,
Coach is a legend.
Great to see Coach.
He's a dear friend of mine, and a friend of Pelicans, a friend of Scoreboard. I mean, I got all respect in the world for Roger. I've known him like 25 years now, and he's a legend, and any honor or recognition that he gets is fine by me.
And TK, you've been around LSU. You've been covering LSU for a very long time. Covered a different AD for the last 9 years. Now Scott Woodward's in the head seat. We'll talk a little bit about Scott Woodward and what you think his impact will be on the LSU program.
I think it's going to be good. I mean, you know, he won the press conference, as they say, and you know, he'd been at LSU before. I met him a couple of times when he was working in the athletic department years ago. Not that he would remember, but he was an impressive guy then, early part of his career. And his track record speaks for itself. You know, you talk about winning the press conference and hitting it out of the park. You know, the early call is LSU did very well in bringing Scott Woodward home. And for the first time, I want to say in 65 or 70 years, the head football coach and athletic director at LSU are both Louisiana natives. Yeah. That hadn't happened in a long, long time. Yeah. So for all those people that love Louisiana like we do, I've been here all my life. That's a cool thing, and let's hope good things can keep happening out there. I like the hire of Scott Woodward.
Well, Scott Woodward, officially official now, the athletic director of LSU Athletics, penned a letter to the LSU fans. We'll talk a little bit about that later on. I'm a believer, just like Scott Woodward.
Well, yeah, he's got to be a leader. You know, it looks like he's going to be that guy to lead all of the athletic teams and programs in Taft. And, you know, he's going to be proactive, not reactive. And that was the problem with the previous guy. He was a reactive guy. And that doesn't work when you got a $160 million budget or whatever it is nowadays. I mean, you got to be out in front of things. He's got excellent experience at Washington, at A&M. You know, everybody knows him. I mean, Southeastern Conference people know him because of his years at A&M. I think it's a good thing, and you know, time will tell. We don't know. Maybe 2 years from now, everybody's cursing him and want to run him out of town. But right now, I mean, he can almost do no wrong.
That's a great point. You never know what time will tell. Time will tell the story, but right now, home run hour as it seems for LSU.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You know, and I was impressed by how quickly it all happened.
Yeah.
You know, you got the issue with Oliva. We started hearing some rumblings. I know I talked to Buddy Sanji, and you know, we were hearing some things and comparing notes, and then all of a sudden they had a new AD, and then they quickly call a meeting to figure out how to get rid of the other one. And I mean, that was impressive. And you know, that had been going on for a couple of weeks. That wasn't a one or two phone call kind of thing. So I like the way the LSU, the way it moved to get the new AD.
I agree
quickly.
that they handled it fantastic. Kind of the exact opposite way of how they handled the Les Miles situation.
Oh,
where he was fired, rehired, canceled, got fired, came back, then got fired again. I think they did an outstanding job in the way they handled the AD transition from Joe Oliva to
let's
Scott
hope they
Woodward.
can keep doing things like that, you know, whatever it has to be.
Right. Also on Tigers Roar, we'll hear from Mike Scarborough, TigerBait.com, as always, to get you your recruiting update. Recruiting never stops. Mike Scarborough, a very busy man over there at TigerBait.com. We'll hear from Mike shortly, or not shortly, but in a little bit on this program. A lot more stuff here on Tigers Roar. We're at Scoreboards, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Very convenient to Airline Highway. If you haven't got here, do yourself a favor. Come try the fantastic food, the great atmosphere, TVs everywhere you look, sports all day, every day. It's always a tailgate at Scoreboards.
Yeah, I mean, I would highly encourage people to get out here and check it out. Many people have been here. If you hadn't been here, you need to make time to stop by.
Something going on every single day. Closed on Mondays, but is open for parties. There you see the lunch specials. Tuesday, chicken fettuccine. Outstanding chicken fettuccine. Do some seasoning on that chicken. It's definitely my favorite. Even better than the red beans and rice, which is also fantastic. That's your Wednesday special. Hamburger steak on Thursday. Crawfish etouffee on Friday. Crawfish season. Got the boil going. Have crawfish ready in a little bit. It already smells outstanding here at Scoreboards. If you haven't heard, there's live music now on Thursday night starting at 8 o'clock. The Eagle 98.1 band, Studio 4, live music. Some country, some classic rock. It's a fun time. If you haven't checked it out, come see us Thursday. Music starts at 8. It's also bike night on Thursday. That'll start at 6. Something new at Scoreboards. Should be cool. The show bikes will be out here. You can check out all the motorcycles. That'll be a fun time. And yeah, karaoke on Friday night. So if you're not into the live music, want to do some music of your own, pick up the mic. That's on Friday nights. Friday karaoke here at Scoreboards. Something going on always at Scoreboards.
Connect on social media. Great way to keep up.
We're here at Tigers Roar, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and New Orleans, as TK used to say so eloquently. I'm John DePocia.
I said it a lot of times, though, but you know. But things are different now, so you're in charge.
Tigers Roar. We'll be back after this first break. Have a lot more LSU sports. Talk some LSU baseball. We come back after this break here on Tigers Roar from Scoreboards on a Wednesday evening.
Going golfing. Oh! Off to golf.
You're picking that up.
Off to the range, honey.
Bye.
Oh, that was close. Glad you got the backup camera installed.
Yep.
You don't need a new car to have new technology. Mike's Audio, conveniently located on Airline Highway near the corner of Bluebonnet.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hi, I'm Jordy Helper for Tremonti's Meat and Seafood Market at 12451 Old Jefferson Highway. Chairman's Reserve steaks, their pork, their chicken, their seafood, top of the line. Primo barbecue pits, Icy Tech coolers. They can go anywhere and cater anything for you. Go to 751-7665 to call Tremonti's Meat and Seafood Market, where good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood Market.
Eagle 98.1 with Condon Uncensored in the morning. Southern Rock with Michelle Southern to head home. Your home for LSU sports. Welcome to Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
welcome back to Tigers Roar. I am Jonathan Poche, joined by a very special co-host, Mr. Tommy Chrysan, a very familiar face if you're a fan of Pelican Broadcasting. As you mentioned in segment 1, some things have changed for you. Still hanging around Pelican, do some things for the station, but you're able to join the Moxie team. Tell us all about Moxie Nola.
Well, Moxie Nola, many people in Baton Rouge familiar with Partners One, been around a little under 20 years. And moving on into New Orleans, Moxie Nola, it's a powerful business trade network. It's great for small businesses that want new customers, want to save some cash, keep their employees happy. It's an outstanding concept. It's very proven, and I'm part of the team that's getting it going in New Orleans, Jefferson Parish, St. Bernard Parish, the West Bank. It's really blowing up. So call us at 504-321-7980 or moxienola.com. You can submit your email there. It's great for small businesses. Again, any part of New Orleans, we want to hear from you. I'm happy to be a part of that team and still doing a few things for Pelican, but hit us up on the phone or the website and we can get you more information. It definitely works for most people. And I'll say this, now I'm in New Orleans a whole lot. As you know, a lot of people watch Tigers Roar. They watch Pelican Broadcasting, the other shows, and they always tell me, hey, when they come up for games, they want to come to scoreboard. So, and we've been on in New Orleans for a long time, and in the last month or so, I've gotten a little taste of that. When I go in places and they recognize me, and they're Pelican Broadcasting. So, it's a good thing, and I'm glad to be down there. My hometown, by the way.
That's right. Moxie Nola, very thankful to them to let TK come pitch hit for Jordy Holtberg today on Tigers Roar. Moxie Nola, check them out. As TK said, great for small businesses. Get that trade dollar in and save some money. Keep your clients happy. Keep your customers in the community.
Yeah, that's
Moxie
great.
Nola.
It's an outstanding deal.
TK has talked some LSU baseball. Tough game last night against Louisiana Tech. Lost 12-1, but I want to go a little further back first. Talk that Ole Miss series at the box. Tigers struggled in Game 2 and Game 3. It was the battle of the Biancos in Game 1. Drew Bianco goes deep against his father's team. We have a little video of Coach Paul Mainieri and Ole Miss head coach Mike Bianco. Here is that video talking about the home run Drew Bianco hit against his father's Rebels.
I talked to Mike a long time before the game, about the whole situation with his son, and it seemed like a good idea, when we recruited him, and then the inevitable day has arrived. I told him, I don't know how you're going to do this, man. I feel sorry for you. I would have a tough time calling pitches to try to get my son out, and I know my son would have a tough time trying to beat me, because you love each other so much, and. But when we recruited him, I said, Mike, are you sure about this? Because there's going to be a day when we're going to go against each other, and you're going to have to call pitches to try to get your son out, and he's going to be trying to give you a loss. And, I guess the Biancos are a lot stronger than I am. I wouldn't be able to handle it, but they do. So what a moment for the kid. It's bittersweet, I'm sure, He's probably the biggest Ole Miss fan in the world, because his dad's the coach, but we win. It's a great victory for us, and he hits a home run. I don't know what to say.
Was it different facing Hess out of the bullpen? Was there a different approach or a different expectation for him coming into the game then?
Well, a little surprised that he would come that early, but obviously it was the right move by Coach Mainieri. They knew it was an opportunity for us to really get back in the game, and he was able to get out of that big inning with only one run, and stuff was pretty electric, especially early.
What are the emotions of seeing your son hit a home run there?
Not probably how you draw it up, I don't really know if I can put it into words. It's one of the reasons probably he doesn't play for us is because you have nights like this where you don't feel too good, and your team loses, and but he hits a home run, and so I guess as a dad, in a little bit I'll be proud, but disappointed in the way we played tonight.
TK, you heard Coach Mike Bianco say it was a bittersweet moment. How do you put into words how you feel coaching against your son? You have to feel a sense of pride when he hits a home run in the SEC game. It just has to be tough to try to call pitches to get your son out.
Well, you know, you and I were talking a little earlier today. I don't know that this has ever occurred before at the D1 level or even any other level. Maybe it has somewhere, but quite the odd situation. But as Coach Mainieri said, I'm sure it was talked about at length before it actually became real that he was coming to LSU. And I mean, it's tough. I mean, the only thing I could draw a comparison to years ago when I played baseball at Southeastern, I had a lot of great friends, and they're still friends today that played at UNO or Tulane or at Nichols, and you know, we would shag balls together during batting practice, and all of a sudden it was time for the game, and if I ended up on a mound, I had to try to get them out, and they had to try to get a hit. That would be the closest thing I could say that I experienced to it, and we were able to draw the line a little bit, you know, and say, hey, it's time to play. You know, we'll go get a beer later, but right now I'm going to try to beat you, you're going to try to beat me. But quite a unique situation. And then I'm not a fan of that bat flip. And I don't think for a minute that the Ole Miss team didn't notice that. Right. And they said, hey, Coach, we got your back. We're going to make them pay the next 2 games. Now, some people might think I'm crazy saying that. I don't know. I'll never know the answer to that. But it was a bittersweet moment, as both coaches said. But it's certainly a story and something that'll never be forgotten by anybody.
I mean, we've both been around baseball a long time. Both coached younger kids. They're in baseball. I cannot imagine calling anything but straight down the middle fastball if my son's coming out with the bat. But I know that wasn't the case. Mike Bianco, the ultimate competitive nature of that guy, to stay focused and really keep his team on task, even though he's facing his son.
I'd be willing to bet a Diet Coke that Bianco, when his son Drew was at the plate, he's looking at the paper, their scouting report, and he's calling pitches that he thought would get the guy out. Right. And I mean, Drew hits the homer. Let's say he looked at strike 3 or he just swung and missed at strike 3. Their dad and son conversation would have been different after, but hey, they both knew going into this whole thing, as Coach Mainieri said, sooner or later they're going to have to play on the field, and it might be a situation like came up, but it's just a great story in baseball.
Yep. Well, that was game 1 of the series. LSU did take the game 1. Game 2 was the Rebels all the way. Game 3 was kind of interesting. The Rebels had a big lead. LSU fought their way back, got down to their last out of the game, down by 5 runs, 6 runs, 15-9, back-to-back jacks, and all of a sudden it's tied in the 9th. I mean, that has to speak to the never-give-up attitude that these Tigers have.
Well, you have to have that, and that's the great game of baseball. Until they get you that last out, in this case, until they get that 27th out, you're not done. Right. You've got a chance. Down to your last pitch, you still have a chance. Now, most people would say down 6 runs with 1 out, the odds are not in your favor. The probability is not in your favor. But you have to keep playing the game. I always have told kids, well, I don't care if you're up or down, you keep playing the game hard. LSU did that, Ole Miss did it. Obviously, the top of the next inning, they racked up a few more runs. But that's the beauty of baseball. There's no clock. Right. And, when they get the 27th out, that's when they win the game. Right. And again, odds were against that comeback, but it happened, and that's what keeps you. That's why you should never leave the park. I'm sure some people left. Oh, definitely. Okay, I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm sure some people left, and then they regretted it. So if you're going to go to the baseball game, you stay to the whole game until they get that 27th out.
Yeah, there wasn't too many fans in the stands to catch those 3 home run balls, but I'm sure somebody scooped them up. But 19-15 was the final score. The Rebels beat the Tigers in Game 3. But really, the comeback, that wasn't. It did tie it up. They sent it to extras. 10 innings was the final. But really, it has to give you some kind of confidence that you're never out of the game. I mean, you're down to your last out, down by 6, and you still find a way to tie it up. That really has to give you confidence moving forward.
It really should. I mean, you should know that when you're playing baseball at that level, at LSU, in the Southeastern Conference. You got to know that if they gave you a uniform, you're a good ball player. So, and that's you find out what you're made out of. Do you keep playing? Do you keep, getting after that next pitch or catching that ground ball, whatever it might be? And I would think all of these guys at this level are doing that, and that's why they're at this level. So, but it's a lesson to young kids. Today you keep playing until the upsets line up and shake hands. You're not done, so keep going.
LSU drops 2 out of 3 to the Rebels, moving their record at the time to 30-18. 30 wins of the season, a great accomplishment for the Tigers. They were preseason ranked number 1, so the business is not done. Job's not over yet, and more midweek struggle last night for the Tigers, dropping a game to Louisiana Tech 12-1. One RBI came from Daniel Cabrera in like the 7th inning, drove in Cade Beloso, a reach on an error. Tigers only had 4 hits. I mean, it was an offensive struggle compared to Louisiana Tech, who really laid it on the Tigers. 17 hits, a very outstanding showing for the bats for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I mean, Tech's not a bad team. They're a very good team. They've been good for years. They've been a tournament team. And they just laid it to LSU. I mean, LSU's been just way too inconsistent this year, even from day one. The pitching, the hitting, the timely hitting, the mental mistakes, the errors, and it's an age-old story that soft lefties tend to mess up LSU, and that's kind of what happened for the first part of the Tech game. But you got to make your hay in May. And right now, LSU hasn't done well in May. It's going to be tough going to Arkansas this week for the 3-game set. But I think, in hindsight, inconsistency has been the problem. You talk about them being ranked number 1 in the preseason. Well, you go to all the polls, there's mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
Last year's college football poll, a couple teams in the top 10 that finished out of the poll.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a talking point. It's great for shows like this and internet stuff and all, but, you got to do it on the field. That was a reputation thing and the recruiting class.
Yeah.
There have been some injuries, but injuries are part of the game. You can't lean on that.
With the loss of the Bulldogs last night, LSU moves to 30-19, the same record as the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. So they've had an outstanding season as well. It could have been worse for the Tigers. The Bulldogs left 11 runners on base. I mean, so it could have been a lot worse if they hadn't done the job and gotten the outs when they did. 12-1 the final score once again last night. And upcoming, another big series for the Tigers. They travel to Fayetteville, take on the number 4 ranked Arkansas Razorbacks. In a big series, Razorbacks currently sit atop the SEC West. Coach Palmineri knows his pitching staff is a little bit shorthanded with the injuries, but we'll start Mikhail Hilliard on Friday, and then Eric Walker, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So Thursday, it'll be Mikhail Hilliard. Friday will be Eric Walker, and then Saturday will be Landon Marcel.
Yeah, in Arkansas, people got to remember, they're catching a pop-up away from being national champions last year. And that's been a solid program for so long. That's a tough place to go play. They love their baseball in Fayetteville. I mean, what the heck else is there to do in Fayetteville? I've never been there, but there can't be much. But it's going to be a tough challenge for this LSU team to go up in Fayetteville. I mean, if they can get 1, they'd have to feel okay. Right. And if somehow they get 2, then it'd be a successful trip. But it's going to be tough because Arkansas is very good.
As I mentioned, Arkansas ranked number 4 in the nation with a record of 37-12. They've been outstanding at home, 26-5 at home.
Tough place to play.
It is a very tough environment. Coach Palmineri knows that already. He's talked his team into kind of preparing themselves mentally to go and face a tough Razorback team in Fayetteville.
It's going to be a big challenge. They're going to have to be consistent. Get the pitching, get the hitting. Most importantly, get the timely hitting. Don't make mistakes. Don't give Arkansas extra outs. When you get runners on base, knock them in. But that's all cliche-ish, I know, but that's what's going to happen. LSU's got to play their very best baseball, to win a game in Arkansas or win more than 1.
You make your, what is it? You make
your hay in May.
You make your hay in May.
And right now, they don't have any hay.
They're not making no hay right now.
They don't have a lot of hay.
Nah, the horse is sputtering, ran out of hay.
That horse, it might be still running in a Derby.
We'll talk a little about the Derby in a little bit, too. Got to get your reaction on that. I know you watched it live.
I did.
That was crazy. We'll talk about the Kentucky Derby a little bit later on in this program. But first, I want to touch on LSU softball. Mentioned earlier that Coach Batarita's bunch dropped a tough series at home, got swept by Alabama, who was also ranked 4th in the nation. But SEC tournament play started today. LSU are waiting to see who they'll play tomorrow in Game 1. Game 1 scheduled for 11 o'clock start. Don't think that's going to happen. They've had some bad weather in College Station, so games might be postponed. They see the graphic right there. Between Florida and South Carolina, LSU has faced both teams already this season and took both series. Had a walk-off Monday night game against Florida and also took 2 out of 3 from South Carolina. So they got to have some confidence that they can win that first game and really do some damage in the SEC tournament.
Going to be dodging raindrops in College Station. I'm sure they got a tarp, but there's no turf there on the softball field. So we have to keep up with Batarita's team and find out when they play. Go to the LSU website.
That's right. Coming up on Tigers Roar here at Scoreboards, a lot more LSU sports. We'll also talk some NFL Saints draft. We'll also hear from Mike Scarborough and the recruiting chase. I mean, it's nationwide now for LSU. They've done an outstanding job, secured the number 1 ranked right now anyway, a recruiting class for the 2019-2020 season. So we'll hear from Mike Scarborough, TigerBait.com later on in this program. A lot more on Tigers Roar here at Scoreboards, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We mentioned it earlier, something going on every single day here at Scoreboards. Live music on Thursday, the Eagle 98 House Band. They do a great job. Got some country music, some live, some classic rock music.
Studio 4.
Studio 4. So if you're into that thing, 8 o'clock to 9:30, live music here at Scoreboards. Also, bike night on Thursday. That's tomorrow. Starts at 6. We have a lot of show bikes out here. It's going to be a good deal.
Connect on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's all getting thrown out there. A lot of people have begun following Scoreboards on Instagram, and we're putting stuff up there constantly. So connect on social media. You know the drill.
A lot going on here at Scoreboards. We're here, Tigers Roar. I'm Jonathan Poche, Tommy Christ, and TK. We'll be back after this message with a whole lot more here on Tigers Roar.
Creel Tree Service is a licensed and insured tree service providing tree and stump removal, topping, trimming, cabling, pruning, and fertilizing. We have free stump removal with takedowns, free estimates, affordable rates, and senior citizens discounts. Call 774-TREE. That's 774-8733. Get your yard ready for the warmer weather. If it deals with a tree, call me, Creel Tree Service, 774-8733. That's 774-TREE.
When my wife and I started Relief Windows, what we were trying to do, what our goal was to give a quality job to a homeowner. Everybody's scared of contractors. We wanted to change the mold of what that is. Not showing up on time, not answering the phone, somebody running with your money. The reason why you should pick Relief Windows to do your renovation of your home, windows, doors, HardiePlank siding, is because of the experience, quality service of our company. Service is everything we have. It's the foundation of our company. We're going to show up on time. We're going to do the job right. Over 60% of our customers is customer referral. We're a local company here in Baton Rouge, built in Baton Rouge, staying in Baton Rouge. Okay. The job's not done until you're happy and we're happy. It's built the old-fashioned way, with a handshake. Here at Relief Windows, it's an honor to be official window, door, and siding company of LSU Athletics, from one winning team to another.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hi folks, Clarence Buggs here. Coach Roger Cador would take the time to tell you how to catch our brand new show, The Roger Cador Show, but as you can see, he's kind of busy right now out at Scoreboards, Baton Rouge's newest sports grill with food that is absolutely amazing. Catch the show 8 o'clock Tuesday nights, 6:30 p.m. on Wednesdays, and on Pelican Television's YouTube channel as well. You want to come out and have a great time. It's awesome, isn't it, Coach? Mm-hmm. Told you.
The Acord Eye Clinic has moved to a new office, just minutes from the old office at 8280 YMCA Plaza Drive, Building 9. Dr. Shonda Acord and her staff welcome patients of all ages, including children and adults. They have a wide variety of frames and sunglasses, including Maui Jim. The Acord Eye Clinic features modern instruments and state-of-the-art technology, including digital retinal scanning with Optomap, hard-to-fit contact lenses, as well as professional care and service. Open Monday through Friday, 8 till 5. Call for an appointment, 225-767-EYES, and visit the website, visionsource-br.com. The Acord Eye Clinic looks forward to seeing you.
This is an important announcement. If you're between 50 and 85 and worried about your loved ones, you can still get affordable life insurance for peace of mind.
My life insurance coverage is guaranteed, and I was not required to get a medical exam.
I had high blood pressure and diabetes, and I got my coverage with one telephone call. No exam necessary.
I'm a smoker, and I wanted to take care of my family. I called to get my life insurance and my affairs in order. I wanted to do the right thing.
Call Final Expense No Exam Insurance. Your rates are guaranteed and will never increase.
I called and learned that this insurance cannot be canceled even if you get sick or gain weight.
And there are no restrictions on how my beneficiaries use the money when I'm gone.
Approval was easy and the price was right. I wanted to do this for my children.
Call 800-654-9927, 800-654-9927.
Welcome back into Scoreboard's Tigers Roar. I am Jonathan Poche, joined by TK, Tommy Chrysan, ready to talk some LSU football. Coach Ed Orgeron, in the middle of his coach's caravan tour, has already hit Shreveport, a couple of different places. They see the graphic right there. He went to Shreveport, West Monroe, Houma coming up next on the 13th, and then Houston. Huge following for LSU out in Houston, and then to where we've been hanging out, New Orleans next month. Talk about the coach's caravan and what that does for Coach O's image just around the whole region.
Well, you know, they had this thing started many years ago in a coach's caravan, and they'd make their different stops, and then it kind of went away for a little bit, and it's back. And I think that's good because LSU fans, whether they're in Shreveport, Monroe, in Houma, or down in New Orleans next month, they love to see their coach. They want, and he's not going to say a whole lot, but they still want to hear him say something about the football team, and a lot of what he said in Shreveport he'll probably repeat in New Orleans. But anytime you can get in the room with LSU fans, or the fans can get in the room with Ed Orgeron or other members of the staff or the athletic department, it's always a good thing. So I'm glad they brought this back for them, because it just helps create interest and excitement about a team that's going to be expected to be very good, a team that's going to be ranked in the top 10.
Yeah, a lot of way too early preseason polls had the Tigers in the top 10. You'd also think Texas Longhorns will also be in the top 10, so that Week 2 matchup will be a big one come when the season starts.
Well, you know, I was one of the people that never dreamed they would win 10 games last year, and they did, and they won a Fiesta Bowl against Central Florida. You know, so you got to give Coach Orgeron credit, because if they'd only won 4 games, he'd be getting all the blame. Yeah. So you got to give him the credit. You know, then in the offseason, they get Joe Brady in to work with the offense. He comes from the Saints, where offense is the prime thing down there with Drew Brees and Sean Payton. And I've still got to see it to believe it. Yeah. You know, 3 wide, 4 wide, 5 wide, empty backfield. Well, if we see that against Georgia Southern on August 31st in Tiger Stadium, then you can believe that it's going to be happening. You learn with these college coaches all over the place in all sports, you don't go by what they say, you go by what they do. Right. But I think you will finally see a little more offense that matches what most people are doing in a college football game. And I think that's going to add to the excitement for LSU. The other key thing is Joe Burrow's back. Yeah. You got to go a long way back to find out when we could sit here in May and we knew who the quarterback would be for LSU. Right. You maybe got to go back to Zach Mettenberger. Right. That's a plus. You know, Burrow's a tough kid. We saw that in that A&M game. He's got a year under his belt. Right. He's got a year working with Steve Ensminger. Ensminger's got a year working with him. You bring Joe Brady in, who, according to all reports, has been a big, big plus and a very good thing. So I think you throw that in there. And, you know, wide receivers are a talented group. Can they step up? Offensive line, I mean, you got to have all the pieces to the puzzle, but I think if you're an LSU fan, you're going to see the ball in the air more. I'm not going to say how much more, but you're going to see it more. It's going to look more like the predominant offenses that you see around the country in college football. And it's all about the quarterback. If you look back in these last 5 years of the college football playoff, teams that were in the playoff had top-notch quarterbacks. Right. They had a lot of other players, a lot of other talent, and they can play defense, all that stuff. But there's always a quarterback that's kind of the thing that gets the thing going. Right. So Burrow, I think he'll be in that spot this year. He's experienced, he's tough. You know, I mean, I just think it's got a chance to be a special season for LSU.
You mentioned Joe Burrow and Joe Brady, the two
Joe
Joes.
and Joe, yeah,
That's
the
right,
Joe
the two
show.
Joes. Running the same type of offense they ran in Joe Burrow's high school and then at Ohio State, the RPO. Got to think he's going to be really comfortable with Joe Brady and all the new stuff, the new little tweaks of the offense.
Yeah, I've had somebody tell me, you know, well, how are these players going to adjust? Players can adjust quickly.
Yeah.
You know, they're young. They want to adjust. And when something's new, I always believe when you get a new coach in, okay, you got Joe Brady comes in, you get everybody's attention. Like, okay, this it. If you had everybody was exactly the same, okay, you're going through the motions. But you have to impress the coach.
Yeah.
And you got to learn what's new. And you're going to pay full attention. You're going to focus on it. And you're going to try to execute it the best you can. So, again, we you know, you can't go by me. I didn't think they'd win 10 games last year. But I think if you're an LSU fan, your expectations will be high. They should be high. And then we'll see what happens on the field.
I mean, you mentioned the 10-win season, the Fiesta Bowl win against UCF, the national champs.
I don't start on that.
Coach O gets a big extension, a lot more money, but nationally, it seems to me there's not a lot of Coach O believers. Why do you think that is?
I'm not sure. You know, it might be a lot of things, but you know, you got to give him credit for what he has accomplished to date. I mean, that's the only thing I can say there. I mean, you know, he didn't work at Ole Miss, but that was a long time ago. You know, when Dean Smith first got to North Carolina, they tried to fire him, and they hung around, and he ended up having one of the top programs. I mean, you know, sometimes, you know, change is good, but sometimes you stick with something, and you see better results at the end. So, you know, to date, you got to give Coach O an A+ for what he's done, exceeded expectations, and his recruiting has been phenomenal. I know we'll talk with Mike Scarborough of TigerBait.com, but the elephant in the room, pardon the pun, is the Alabama Crimson Tide. Because if you're going to win the SEC West, you're going to have to be able to beat Bama. They got to go to Tuscaloosa this year. Trust me when I tell you, A&M under Jimbo Fisher is going to be a lot better than they were under Kevin Sumlin. And I liked Sumlin as a coach. I mean, he seemed like a pretty good guy, got a lot done. They always tailed off at the end of the season, though. Jimbo Fisher, with the resources at A&M, the players he's getting, and yes, he will recruit Louisiana, A&M is going to be very, very tough. It's probably going to be a 3-team race between LSU, A&M, and Alabama, and it's no secret. You got to figure out a way to beat Bama, or they're not going to be in Atlanta, and they're not going to be in the playoff.
Before you beat Alabama, you got to score on Alabama. You can't get shut out
yeah,
again.
You probably got to get some
you got to get some points on the board.
Yeah, probably. That'd be a good idea.
TK, we both spent a lot of time in and around New Orleans. You listen to a lot of local radio. What's the perception of Coach O down in New Orleans?
You know, like you said, I'm in New Orleans now with Moxie Nola, and I listen to Eric Asher and Double D, David DeCorvier, Corey Johnson a lot when I have a chance in the car, just to try to get a pulse of New Orleans, my hometown. And, you know, there's people that still aren't a fan of Bush Roar. Right. I'm like, what's not to like? Dude won 10 games, bowl game. He's recruiting his butt off. You know, he's a Louisiana guy, you know, down there on the bayou.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, everybody wants, I guess, 15-0 national title. Well, that's very hard to do.
Yeah.
Very hard to do. And it's very easy to coach when you're calling in on a radio show, or you're driving in your car, you're sitting on your sofa. It's easy to be a coach. But Coach O is running. You know, I think a lot of people like Coach O and they respect him, but there's still those naysayers that want to be like, you know, like last summer, he was on the hot seat according to some of the national writers. That hurts recruiting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not good for recruiting. But he's on the hot seat, then he wins 10 games. And I'm sure somebody will say he's on the hot seat this year. I don't think he should be.
Yeah.
It's just, hey, enjoy it. A lot of teams would like to win 10 games. A lot of teams would like to win the Fiesta Bowl. I know LSU fans want a national title. I tell you what, though, I bet you some LSU fans, if they could beat Bama, they'd be okay with not having a national title. Because that's the thing right now. And Bama had a tremendous turnover on their coaching staff. My friend's no longer coaching on the staff no more. He went back to the Philadelphia Eagles. So we'll see what happens with Bama. You know they still got football players. You know, we'll see. But LSU and Orgeron, they've been hitting all the right buttons on the recruiting trail. And, you know, media days come up in July and then the fall camp. And, you know, Georgia Southern at home. Then you play in Austin against the Texas Longhorns, who will be a top 10 team, as you mentioned. So it'll be here before we know it, and it'll be fun to watch.
this is just my personal opinion. I mean, don't take this to the bank. But that last year's national championship, Alabama versus Clemson, the way Clemson completely handled the Crimson Tide, I mean, it's almost like that Rocky movie. Now, once Rocky cut the Russian, it was over. I mean, he knew he could do it. There has to be a different belief for LSU this season that LSU can beat Alabama. I mean, you got to get off the bus believing you can win. That hinders LSU a lot of years in the past when they played the Crimson Tide.
No, I'd agree with you. I mean, a lot of it is upstairs, you know. A lot of it is a mental game because they all got, you know, LSU's got football players. They've got talent. They've got good coaches, you know. And you know, Jordy Hultberg, who I'm pitching it for, you know, he has said this for 10 years, and I totally agree with him. They need the open date after the Bama game, not before. Because then you get this 2 weeks of hype and pressure and build up, and they try to say, oh, it's not pressure, but it is. I think they'd be so much better off with that bye open date after the Bama game. I don't know what would have to happen to change that schedule going forward, but you have to play the schedule that's in front of you. But it's up to Coach O. That's his job, is to have that team figure it out mentally, go to Tuscaloosa and get a win.
Now, we'll talk to Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com in the next segment here on Tigers Roar. But I just want to mention LSU, a national brand now, getting players from all over the country. Went out to California, signed some recruits in Washington, Virginia, Utah, everywhere. I mean, for them to go national with the brand, it really speaks to Coach O and how much work he does on the recruiting trail.
Well, there's different rules for the head coach than the other coaches when it comes to recruiting, but for so long, Coach O was known as a recruiter.
Right.
His days at Miami on the staff, his days at Southern Cal, and I'm not talking about when he was the interim head coach.
Yep.
So even though he's not on the road as much as other coaches, he's telling them.
Right.
You know, and they, you know, what I like what he said in one of the articles I read, you know, hey, if there's a kid in California, we're going to go after him. You don't know if you're going to get him till you go ask.
Right.
One thing I do know is if you don't ask him, you're not going to get him.
Right.
So they're going after people. You see, and then probably something that's different with recruiting now that maybe wasn't present 10 years ago. These kids talk to each other with these smartphones constantly.
Right.
So that kid in California is talking to that kid in Florida or West Virginia. 10 years ago, there might have been one conversation when they were at the same camp or something in the summer. Now they swapping information and they tweeting and all. I mean, you know, they're talking to each other. So I think Coach O has recognized that he can use the players he's recruiting to recruit other players. And all coaches are, I'm not saying Coach O is the only one that knows that. You know, if I'm recruiting you, I'm like, hey, you got to talk to him and you got to talk to him. Let's all come in here and win a championship. And you're going to get on the field. You're going to get on TV. You're going to make a lot of money in the NFL. We're going to win. You know, you're going to be, you know, get a great education, whatever they want to say. So, you know, that's all part of it. So, you know, Coach O, I believe, is on the cutting edge of the recruiting thing, even though, as I said, it's different rules for the head coach than for the assistants.
You make a great point. I mean, the players have such a big role to play. With the Twitterverse, I mean, connecting with these guys that live wherever. You might see them at like an opening 7-on-7 camp, but the Twitterverse really has
California
worked
to Florida, they're talking all night. They're staying up, they're playing video games, and talking, they're competing each other. You know, and then if you get a kid saying, you know, I don't like LSU, you know. That ain't good, but if you get this kid saying, man, I'm going there, you need to come with us, man. It's a great place, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And, you know, that's a powerful part of it.
But we'll talk more recruiting with Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com a little bit later in this show. Probably next segment we'll get Mike on the phone. But we could not talk about LSU football without mentioning Odell Beckham Jr., your boy. He's been in the news lately, had some comments about the Cleveland Browns, his new scene, his new team. He's believing they could be something special.
Let's just, he better hope his name doesn't come up for the drug test.
Let's show that graphic for Odell Beckham and what he had to say about his Cleveland Browns and what their future might hold. He believes they could turn into the new Patriots. And you mentioned the drug test. I mean, putting new definition of Ohio Cleveland Browns. The Met Gala was over the weekend. Odell Beckham was in attendance, and that's the outfit right there on the right.
So that's the problem. He's drawing attention to himself, okay? Just you know, Kevin Falk gave Nick Brissett advice this week. Shut up, do your job.
Right.
Maybe Odell needs to get that phone
And who's
call.
Nick Brissett?
Shut up and do your job, okay? That's how you survive in this league. You know, they ran Beckham out of New York. They couldn't put up with him anymore. They didn't like the shenanigans, the BS, the boat trip on the open date, and the fact that he is a problem in the locker room. Now he's Cleveland's problem. The Giants probably glad they got rid of him. But I would say if I could, Odell Beckham doesn't care what I think, but he should listen to Kevin Falk. Shut up, do your job. Then if you win a Super Bowl or you become the next dynasty, then you say, hey, we've worked. You know, there's an old saying, Jonathan. If you're really number one, you don't have to tell anybody.
Right.
John Wooden, UCLA basketball coach and legend. If you're really number one, you don't have to tell anybody. They know it. Beckham, shut up, do your job.
Hey, the Patriots aren't going out on social media saying we're going to win the next four. They just win it.
Did you see Brady saying we're going to win another Super Bowl? No.
Right.
They just go win it.
Right.
If you're really number one, you don't have to tell anybody.
Well, as you saw in the comments, he plans on being in Cleveland the next 5 years, win as many championships as possible.
I'll bet you a Diet Coke
the
he's
new
not there
Patriots.
5 years from now.
Diet Coke, you heard it here.
Diet Coke at scoreboards, even a plate of boiled shrimp, which are great here, and we're going to throw some bread pudding in there that he is not with the Cleveland Browns 5 years from right now. What's this, May of 2019?
Right.
I'm coming to collect. May of 2024, invite me back. I want boiled shrimp, bread pudding, and you're paying the check.
Odell Beckham, an outstanding talent, broke the internet with the catch against the Cowboys a few years back. I mean, the guy has all the little kids dyeing their top of their hair gold, wearing the number 13 jersey. I know a lot of younger kids like him, but a lot of older guys do not. I mean, is that a generational gap, or
It's
what's
a
going on with
generational
that?
thing, and if we could get a roster of New York Giants season ticket holders, most of them are my generation, not yours. You're young enough to be my son.
That's a great point.
All right? Yeah, my son's about your age. My daughter's a little bit older than you, but you know, so they just didn't want to put up with that.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, young people, they're misguided if they're wearing a Beckham jersey, in my opinion. But to each his own.
Hey, like you said, Odell doesn't really care what we have to say here on Tigers Roar. We say it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's an opinion
That's
thing.
right.
And you might agree, you might disagree, but shut up and do your job. Listen to Kevin Falk. Kevin's got a lot of records in the SEC, a lot of records at LSU. He's got Super Bowl rings, pockets full of them.
Right.
From a 13-year career at the Patriots. He's in the Patriot Hall of Fame, on the Patriot World Team or whatever, because he just shut up and did his job. Perfect example, young kids. Be quiet, go do your job, whatever the sport, whatever age you are. Because if you're really number one, you don't have to tell anybody.
He's Tommy Christ, and I'm Jonathan Poche here at Scoreboards on Tigers Roar. When we get back from these messages, we'll hear from Mike Scarborough, TigerBait.com, talk some more recruiting and LSU football when we get back here on Tigers Roar on a Wednesday evening.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Oh, great party.
Oh, thanks for coming, guys.
You better get that car warmed up.
I'm on it. I don't miss those days.
Yeah, we just had a remote start installed.
Oh, us too. Nice.
It's gonna be nice and toasty.
Why don't we have one of those?
We're fine.
Okay, I can't feel my fingers.
I bet everyone else can.
You don't need a new car to have new technology. Mike's Audio, conveniently located on Airline Highway near the corner of Bluebonnet.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Welcome back to Tigers Roar. I am Jonathan Poche alongside Tommy Krysan, TK. Lucky to be joined by the man himself, Mike Scarborough, TigerBait.com. Talk some recruiting. Mike, how are you this evening?
Hey, glad to be with you. I'm doing fine.
Mike, #1 recruiting class for 2020. What has stood out the most to you so far?
Well, I mean, it's like everybody says. It's what are they doing to attract these kids from out of state? And you know, it all started with Elias Ricks, and they're continuing to get a lot of high interest. And you've got to give Ed Orgeron and everybody in the building credit for going out and saying we're recruiting nationally, and LSU is a national brand. And you know, you've gone to Santa Ana, California, Woodbridge, Virginia, Washington D.C., Baltimore. You know, then you still have a big contingent from Texas. You know, it's like you got the majority of the class now that's from out of state, and now you need to finish up with some Louisiana kids and, you know, some offensive linemen. Offensive linemen, obviously, the rest of the way is the big focus. It has to be. I think, you know, offensive and defensive linemen, but I think the defensive linemen that you got on the board, Jaquilin Roy, Jacoby Guillory, I think those kids will be a part of the class.
Really? You think they will flip to LSU ultimately?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Guillory has been leading LSU for quite some time from Alexandria Senior High School.
Yeah.
Of course, Jaquilin Roy was at one time committed to LSU.
Right.
Decommitted. I think eventually he'll be a part of LSU's class again.
Mike, earlier on this show, we talked about kids recruiting other kids. I mean, how big of a factor has Elias Ricks been on Twitter and getting these other guys to sign up to come to LSU?
It's just huge. And it's also, you've got a couple of quarterback commitments that a lot of other kids are familiar with. Quarterbacks are always a draw in anybody's recruiting class. The wide receiver hall is got a lot of kids paying attention. And then when you're #1, you got the #1 ranked recruiting class, that gets other kids saying, what's going on in Baton Rouge? I want to get down there and go for a visit. So I'm really anxious to see for the June camps at LSU, particularly the 20th through the 22nd, what are some of the names that end up showing up? I mean, what we've seen the last couple of years between 7-on-7s, Under Armours, Rivals, the openings, all the junior days that take place, official visits now take place early in the year. You've got spring football going on now, and then you've got other events that take place. That a lot of kids, we've seen the camps, really the college camps, get hurt by all that activity. And by the time it gets to middle to late June, a lot of these kids are just burned out and they're sick and tired of going on the road for events. And the kids showing up for a lot of these things in numbers isn't what they used to be.
Right.
But I wonder if that's going to be different this summer when you've got a class that's ranked #1 in the country.
Yeah.
You know, Mike, you said you got to give Ed Orgeron and everybody in the building credit. I mean, they're the ones that are going out there, you know, reaching out to these kids. You don't know if a kid's going to come here if you don't ask him. I do know that if you don't ask him, he's probably not coming. So, you know, I think it's great that they're reaching out, you know, into all these places. And not only is that going to help this year, but that'll snowball the years going forward.
Well, look, LSU has always, you know, sent out offers to kids across the country. But it's another thing to actually get on a plane and fly out there and visit the high school.
Right. And especially if other people are flying out there to visit, you have to also do it.
Right, and you know, and I've been saying it for weeks now. I sure would like to see at the end of the year the expenditures for coaches going out, you know, and getting on planes and per diem and hotel rooms.
It doesn't matter.
The amount of money that's being spent there compared to previous years because they truly are, you know, not only making the effort and burning up the hours on the road, but they're spending the money. And we're also seeing, you know, LSU would never, the number has always been 53. I don't know if that number's increased or not, but you were allowed 53 official visits a year. And it sure looks, and they never would come close to using up all those. It sure looks like now that they're going to come close to using up a lot of those official visits because they're bringing kids in and you know, in a couple of weeks they're bringing in Paris Johnson, you know, 5-star offensive lineman that's committed to Ohio State. Well, why do you bring him in? Well, you bring him in because you never know, you know, if you're going to turn his head, if he comes in with his family, has a great visit, maybe you can get him to come back for an unofficial visit for camp in June. So,
well, yeah, I would think you better take every visit that's allowed. You got to use it somehow, some way. Right. You know, in my opinion.
Yeah, but a lot of times too, it's like, well, you know, if you have no chance with a kid, why bring him in when you've got to give him all the attention when you can give more attention to another kid that truly is interested in you on that official visit weekend? Or it's like, well, when can you get that kid in for a visit if he's looking at 4 other schools? And does it make sense to bring him in now? Or do you want to bring him in during football season so he can experience Tiger Stadium?
Well, that's why they get paid the big bucks to draw that fine line of when you don't think you're going to get a kid, or you never know when a kid's got a little brother or there's a star at his school that's a year or two, you know, underclassmen, a year or two behind him on the school list. So, you know, you got to make your presence felt. You know, I remember, you know, funny story, legendary high school coach J.T. Curtis. I was at a banquet, a luncheon thing years ago, and somebody asked him, said, "Why'd you recruit so-and-so, coach?" He said, "Because he's got a really good little brother." You know, so, you know, that's what happened.
Right, right. And look, LSU's got 3 official visitors this week, and they've got a guard coming in from Olive Branch, Mississippi, and Xavier Hill. You got linebacker Jaheim Thomas, and a big-time 4-star defensive end in Darion Henry. So I talked to a lot of these kids, you know.
All right.
What's amazing is what they're doing to some of Ohio State's, what they're doing to Ohio State's recruiting board. I reached out to a longtime Ohio State friend of mine, covers Ohio State football and recruiting. And I said, you know, is this just the post-Urban Meyer era and other coaches are chumming the water, or is there something else going on? And, you know, I think it's people, LSU's not alone in testing the new, you know, Ohio State coaching staff to see if they can peel some of those kids off.
Mike, you mentioned the official visits this weekend for LSU, but they got some coaches on the road, right?
Yeah, and you've got a lot of look, quarterbacks are out getting visited. Ansminger's been on the road. Of course, Orgeron and those coaches have been doing the TAF tour stops. So it's a spring evaluation period. It's very important.
Mike, talk about what LSU has to do to close out this class. What do they need to wrap it up?
Like I said, I think it's all offensive linemen. It's vital that this class be very strong at that position. I think the one thing that's worrisome is that, a few months ago, they probably would have said, look, we need to have a strong group of offensive tackles, that the majority of this offensive line class be offensive tackles and not guards. And I'm worried that towards the end, it's not just LSU. There's just not a ton of high-profile tackles out there. But they've got, if the number ends up being 5, 3 or 4 of them need to be tackles. And so right now, you've got, when you look at the commitment list, you've got Cortland Ford, who I think probably is a right tackle. You got Cameron Jackson, who I believe is an offensive lineman at the next level. And I think he's a tackle, but he's probably a minimum of 2 years away from being a guy. He's a bit of a project. So, and then your other offer in state is Cedric Van Pran. Well, he's a center guard. You got Miller Merriweather Lewis on the board that they're recruiting. He's a guard. You're bringing in a guard this weekend. The Doomerville kid that they brought in a couple of weekends back for an official visit, he looks to be an Oklahoma lean. So to me, that is, you can have a #1 ranked recruiting class, and it's like a lot of years. You can get there on signing day, and LSU's always had middle of the top 10 classes or just inside the top 5, which are very strong recruiting classes. Yeah. But those recruiting class rankings do not take into consideration what your needs are.
Right.
And LSU is always going to have wide receivers, defensive backs, and athletes, running backs, etc., that skew LSU's team ranking in whatever service you look at. But meanwhile, you're missing the boat on offensive and defensive linemen, and then that rears its ugly head the first Saturday in November.
There you go. That's good stuff, Mike.
Jonathan Poche, Tommy Christian, joined by Mike Scarborough, TigerBait.com. Mike, before we let you go, tell everybody about TigerBait.com and how they can get involved.
That's it. Go to TigerBait.com. We want to have you as a subscriber. We'll give you 30 days for $1 to try us out. Also, check us out on Facebook. Go to Facebook, type in TigerBait.com, hit the like button. Make sure you hit the follow button and check See First, because we're going to be doing a lot of Facebook Live here coming up here in the coming months. And, of course, follow me on Twitter at Scarborough Mike.
Mike, fantastic job as always. Certainly appreciate you spending some time with us here on Tigers Roar.
All right, talk next week. Thanks.
All right, Mike, thank you.
Good stuff right there.
Mike Scarborough, TigerBait.com, always has a load of knowledge to drop on us.
He's been doing it for a long time, and he does it very well.
The recruiting czar here on Tigers Roar, Mike Scarborough, TigerBait.com. I'm Jonathan Poche, Tommy Christian here at Scoreboards 10655 Coursey Boulevard. This Tigers Roar. We have some NFL, some Saints news. We get back from this break. Come back and join us here on Tigers Roar.
We've been fighting the war on drugs for a long time. We answer the phone 24/7, 365 days a year. On a busy night, we answer hundreds of calls. This war on drugs needs our intervention.
Since 2014, Addiction Hope and Helpline has helped people struggling with drugs and alcohol.
When the phone rings, we help people when they need it the most. When we get a caller into treatment, it feels right. It feels good. It's a blessing.
If you're struggling, drinking, using, and need to get clean, don't suffer alone in silence. Call Addiction Hope and Helpline.
Our people understand, and many are also in recovery. Call for support and strength. You can call for someone who can't or isn't willing. It's an act of love. Together we can help you beat this thing and erase addiction from your vocabulary once and for all.
Call 800-383-8177, 800-383-8177.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
Eagle 98.1 with Condon Uncensored in the morning. Southern Rock with Michelle Southern to head home. Your home for LSU sports. Welcome to Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
The Accord Eye Clinic has moved to a new office, just minutes from the old office at 8280 YMCA Plaza Drive, Building 9. Dr. Shonda Accord and her staff welcome patients of all ages, including children and adults. They have a wide variety of frames and sunglasses, including Maui Jim. The Accord Eye Clinic features modern instruments and state-of-the-art technology, including digital retinal scanning with Optomap, hard-to-fit contact lenses, as well as professional care and service. Open Monday through Friday, 8 till 5. Call for an appointment, 225-767-EYES, and visit the website, visionsource-br.com. The Accord Eye Clinic looks forward to seeing you.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hello. Hola. 你好.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
Back to Tigers Roar. I am Jonathan Poche, joined by Tommy Christ and TK. Still hanging around Pelican, doing some things for the station, but he has a new gig. Joined the Moxie team. Tell everybody about Moxie Nola one more time.
Moxie Nola is exploding in Jefferson Parish, New Orleans, St. Bernard, the West Bank. Small business owners, if you're looking for new customers, you want to save some cash, keep your employees happy. A lot of great things happening with Moxie Nola. Call us at 504-321-7980 or visit the website moxienola.com. Submit your email address, and a member of the Moxie Nola team will get a hold of you and show you how you can become part of a powerful network, a community of businesses throughout the greater New Orleans area. It'll be a good thing for you. It's been very successful in Baton Rouge. Partners One, been around for 20 years, rebranded the name Moxie Nola. Call us. Visit the website, and we'll be happy to give you more information.
TK, certainly appreciate you spending some time on Tigers Roar with me. Ready to talk some NFL, some New Orleans Saints.
How about them Saints?
Didn't have a first-round draft pick this year. Only had 5 selections in the draft, but really quality over quantity.
You got to do that, and I was really impressed with he moved up to get McCoy, the center out of A&M, and you know, when you read everything about McCoy, he didn't allow sacks and he didn't get penalties, and you know, he's a team captain and he's been out there, started out, 30-something games. Then you got to be impressed with that, okay? And obviously the Saints identified as him. It was a need with Max Unger retiring.
Correct.
Now, I don't know if he's going to roll right in and start. He may very well do that. That's something that wouldn't have happened years ago in the NFL, but these guys, you come out of the SEC, you come out of A&M, and you are ready to step on the NFL field. And I was impressed with that first pick. by the Saints, even moved up a few spots to get him. So they're certainly high on him. We'll see if he can produce out on the field.
Ran a sub-5 flat at the 40-yard dash at the combine, so you know he's athletic. You see right there, he has all the strength you can need. Had almost 30 reps on a 225. So yeah, Eric McCoy, a need position for the Saints. Max Unger, you mentioned he retired. The Saints went and got Nick Eason from the Vikings. He had a year off for injury. So now really there's 4 starters for 3 spots. Really it frees up maybe a trade for Andrews Pete. I mean, he has a big contract extension coming up for the Saints. Wouldn't be surprised if the Saints deal him maybe for a playmaker outside opposite of Mike Thomas.
Well, you know, you got to defer to the Saints front office. Mickey Loomis, his staff, Sean Payton, his input. They push more correct buttons than bad buttons, but all NFL teams make mistakes with a trade or a draft or a free agent. I mean, that stuff's part of it. But the Saints have had more success than some other teams, which is why they've won games on the field. And, you know, been a playoff team and expected to be a playoff team again, a shot to win a Super Bowl. So you just defer to the Saints that their track record speaks for itself, and I see no reason why the Saints won't be contenders again this year.
Another position of need was a safety spot for the Saints. They had Kurt Coleman last year, did not perform the way they thought he would coming over from the Carolina Panthers. Saints like to run 3 safeties, so they go and select Chauncey Gardner-Johnson out of Florida, a guy that can play in the box. He can match up well against tight ends. Very strong tackler. When he hits you, you definitely feel it, and the Saints got a good one. A lot of people thought that this would be a second-round prospect, but Saints grabbed him with the 105th pick in the 4th round.
Well, he played in the SEC. I mean, that's the best conference in football. And if you look at how many SEC guys were drafted, it's like double any other conference.
Right.
So anybody that comes out of the SEC, whether it's the East, whether it's the West, whatever, you got to believe they got a lot of upside, and certainly the Saints agree with that because they've cast their lot with that guy.
Played 37 games for the Gators, 9 interceptions, 3 for touchdowns. He had 12 pass breakups and 161 total tackles, 15 tackles for loss and 4 sacks. So he can play around a line of scrimmage. The Saints love to have safeties that can do that, a la Kenny Vaccaro. And he seems to fit the defense well. Dennis Allen got himself a steal, as it seems, in the draft with Gardner-Johnson.
You just said tell me he's a heck of an athlete.
Right.
Because he can do the different things. You got to be a great athlete now to play any sport at any level. That's what has happened in the last 10 plus years.
Right.
If you're an athlete, you have a better chance of succeeding than if you're some safety who can only do 1 or 2 things.
With the 177th pick in the draft, the Saints went back-to-back safeties, got another guy they felt was in their top 70 on the board, a guy out of Rutgers in Saquon Hampton.
But, you know, again, you defer to the staff that they've evaluated this guy. There's things they like about him. They think he can improve. Might be a practice squad player, be in the 6th round, but you know, the more good players you get, the better the whole picture is. So I'm glad to see the Saints going to get people they believe to be good players. Right. They have had success in the past with late-round draft picks who have become productive players. We'll see if they can do it again.
Well, Saquon Hampton, a 6'1", 209-pound safety, was the Homer Hazel Award winner. That goes to Rutgers MVP. So, I mean, the guy had the respect of his teammates. They made plays all season. Right there, you see him going after the ball. A true free safety, can play center field for the Saints. Again, they like that 3 safety look, so he can find some playing time early in his career.
Yeah, so he could end up on the field. If not, maybe he's a practice squad guy that continues to develop.
The Saints have a big addition in the offseason, picking up Jared Cook from the Oakland Raiders. The guy was one of the top top tight end targets in the NFL the last couple of years. But a project almost in Alizé Mack, a guy with all the size, all the strength, and all the speed you can want at the tight end spot. Some say underperformed at Notre Dame. They had some trouble throwing the football. So maybe Dan Campbell, who is well respected without the NFL, the tight ends coach for the New Orleans Saints, maybe he can kind of mold this guy a la Jimmy Graham into a real playmaker.
Well, talking about being athletes, tight ends are athletes. They can catch, they block, you know, they're smart, they can handle things, run block, pass block, run routes, whatever, run a decoy route, whatever. So it's an important position. And Drew Brees, if he's got a good tight end, he finds him. Drew Brees knows to spread the ball around, including to the tight end. So the more tight ends you can bring in so you can find those couple that'll make the 53-man roster and contribute, the better for the team.
Alizé Mack, 6'5", 245, ran a 4.70 in the 40-yard dash to the combine. So look, he is definitely an athlete.
Well, we'll see what he can do when they get to the camps.
The word of the day for the Saints draft was versatility. You got guys that can play a lot of different positions.
Special teams, too.
Special teams, and really, versatility is no a lack of versatility, I should say.
Like the guy Hampton from Rutgers. I mean,
Right.
if he can also do special teams,
right,
you got a better chance of sticking.
Well, Caden Ellis, the linebacker from Idaho, also played tight end a couple snaps for Idaho, caught 2 touchdown passes. This could be another project like the Swiss Army knife, Taysom Hill on offense. This guy might play more than one position on defense, possibly even play both sides of the ball. Who knows?
Time will tell.
Sean Payton loves versatility. They really got a guy with all the pedigree you could want. I mean, his dad played for a long time in the pros, was an all-pro defensive lineman, and Luther Ellis, so maybe he could turn into something. I mean, the guy, great tackler, sideline to sideline, led the team in tackles for Idaho, and as I mentioned, caught 2 touchdowns as a tight end, so, I mean, he could really do it all on the football field.
Hopefully it'll work out.
I want to let you guys hear from Mickey Loomis, the Saints general manager. He had a press conference after the NFL draft. Few things to say. It's not that long. Mickey Loomis on his comments of the Saints draft going quality over quantity. Here's Mickey Loomis, general manager for the New Orleans Saints. They have 2 minutes.
What do you like about this class?
Well, yeah, look, I like that we got 3 guys that were graded in our top 70. I like the opportunities that we had today. With Alize Mack and Caden Ellis, and look, I think we got some players that can help our team.
What do you think the vision is for Ellis? You said you might want him to play multiple positions.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's look, the quickest route for any of these guys, at that position is to contribute on special teams. So until we get here, and we've got a vision for these players, and yet how quickly they fulfill the vision, it depends in a large part on them, and we'll see what happens.
So you had 3 guys in your top 70?
Mm-hmm.
So this is like top 70 overall, the entire draft board?
We had, on our board, 3 of our guys that we drafted were in our top 70.
Was it those?
Was that what you were expecting? You guys only had 1 pick in the first 167 coming in, or I imagine?
Yeah, so we're pleased about that.
It was the top 3 picks, I'm guessing?
Yeah, yes.
How did that trade come about with the safety from Florida?
Yeah, it was an opportunity. First of all, the key to that was getting the 4th back when we made the trade to get McCoy. We got a 4th round pick back, and that allowed us to be in a position to move up and get Chauncey. So we're excited about that. So we traded up, not down, right?
Can you just talk about
so remember that next year when you're asking me those questions.
Can you just talk about that general philosophy? I know you talked about it a bunch, but obviously you don't see anything taboo about giving up future picks or giving picks.
Well, it's calculated, right? It's calculated, and so when you have the opportunity to go get somebody, go get a player that you covet, go get them. That's been a successful formula for us. I'm not saying it's 100%, but it's a successful formula for us, and I think for a lot of teams. And so, if you like the player, go get them. That's our philosophy.
So you took 2 safeties. How much of this is special teams focused, or what do you like about it?
Yeah, I think there's some versatility there. Chauncey with playing nickel, and we'll see how it all shakes out. But obviously, that's a position where those guys can be core special teams players as well.
Sean said you guys thought maybe Eric would be gone by the time the first round even came to a close. When he didn't go, when did you guys start talking about how you maybe move up to try to get him? You said
right at the end of the first round. Yeah. So he was a target for us, and we talked a lot about what we had available to us, what we'd be willing to spend in terms of the cost to move up, and made a lot of calls, and eventually found a willing partner.
When you came in this morning, were you surprised that Chauncey was still out there?
Yes, I would say yes. We were. Again, last night, we talked a little bit about it. evaluated the cost to move, and again, the key to that was getting the 4th round pick back in the trade for McCoy. So,
or how long before you actually made the pick?
We discussed it amongst ourselves, last night, and then came in, in the morning and discussed it then, and started making a few calls to see who was looking in front of us, who was looking to maybe move down. There were a number of teams that were willing to do that. Some the cost was too great. So it's just a process. And then when you get on the clock and you get close to their pick or our pick, if the player's still available, then those conversations get a little more heated up. But the framework for a deal is already in place.
And the trade in the 2nd round, how soon did you finish that before you picked? Was it right before you picked McCoy?
Yeah, on the clock. Yeah, on the clock.
What common traits would you say maybe all these guys have?
I think smart, tough, productive. Those are the things that we're looking for.
You ever have any interaction with Luther Ellis?
Well, my recollection is, and I said this to Caden, I think that we made a swing at him as a free agent at one point, his dad, years ago. That's my recollection, and it'll come back to me, I think, eventually. But yeah, I think I know we had a discussion about being able to acquire him years ago, and obviously it didn't happen, but his dad was a good football player, and that's a good pedigree that he comes from.
What do you see as some of the advantages or disadvantages, the calculations that go into taking fewer draft picks to get specific guys versus stockpiling draft picks to get a lot of guys? What do you think goes into that? Is it dependent on how close you are to contending and how close you are to rebuilding? Or
no, I think there's a lot of variables. It starts with maybe philosophy, whether or not look, more swings, more hits, right? So that's one of the philosophies, and the other one is quality over quantity at times. So, I think there's lots of variables involved with that, and I think it changes from year to year. Obviously, the composition of your team makes a difference as well. So if you're really strong in a position, sometimes you want to build that strength, and sometimes you're looking at it like, well, man, can the guy even make our team given where our roster is? So there's a lot of variables, and I think each case is kind of specific to itself.
That was New Orleans Saints General Manager Mickey Loomis. I'm John DePoche, Tommy Krysan, here to wrap it up for this edition of Tigers Roar. Got to thank my man TK, Tommy Krysan. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having me. Great to see everybody at the Pelican. Great to see great crowd at scoreboards and all the good people that are here. And man, they got bike night tomorrow night, live music. That's every Thursday now.
Right.
Connect on social media. But my pleasure. Thank y'all for inviting me back out here. Maybe we'll do this again later in the summer.
Certainly we'll do it again. TK, certainly enjoyed all your input. Great contributions to the show, as always. I learned from the best.
Oh, no, I don't know about that. But hey, no, you're doing a great job. A lot of people have told me that. So you keep up the good work. Marty, Greg, Alan, everybody it takes to pull this stuff off. I know what's involved, so having been here. So you guys keep doing the great work that you're doing.
Well, we're out here at Scoreboards. Don't forget, something going on every single day at Scoreboards. It is closed on Mondays, but Tuesday through Sunday opens at 11 a.m., has great lunch specials each and every day. Live music on Thursdays, along with bike night. That'll start around 6 o'clock. Live music, that starts at 8 o'clock. Studio 4, the Eagle 98 House Band, they'll be rocking some country, some classic rock. Come check out the live music, or if you want to sing a couple songs, come check out Carrie.
No. We're going to get Hopeberg to sing.
Yeah, maybe
better yet, Buddy Sanji needs to get out here and sing. Bud Man, you need to sing.
I'd pay to see that. We're here at Scoreboards. Come check it out if you haven't done so already. Great food, great atmosphere. TVs all over the place. TK, thank you once again for coming out. Certainly appreciate it.
I had a lot of fun. Great to see everybody with the Pelican. Y'all come by Scoreboards.
Come check us out. Check us out next week here on Tigers Roar. Thanks for watching. I'm John DePoche. That's TK.